I started by looking for rigged models that would be fun to animate. After I found Cammy from Street Fighter, I got the idea to try and recreate some of her moves from different games. Since it's a video game, there wasn't really a smooth sequence of motions. It was all pretty choppy and too fast to make a cool flowy combo. So I edited together a video with different moves that I thought would fit nicely together, along with a short intro before she starts fighting. The plan was to have her hit a dummy, kind of like a test target. But once I actually got started, I quickly realized I'd only have time to finish her intro, no punches, kicks, or dummy. I didn't want to start off wrong, so I took my time planning how to animate all her spins and jumps, deciding whether I should animate her root or her cog. If I animated the big movements with the root, her hands and feet would never stick to the ground, and I'd have to counter-animate them every time they touched the floor. So I decided to leave the root alone and move her forward using the cog. I had major issues cleaning up the curves in the graph editor due to all the rotations on her cog. I used quaternion rotation, which I don't fully understand yet, while Euler rotation is much easier for me to grasp. Luckily, I had a precise reference, which helped me time and place the curves exactly where they needed to be, though it took a lot of back and forth. For her final move, I decided to try a different approach. The rake had two controllers for her hips, the actual hips, cog, and one called torso pivot. So I figured I could switch her cog from quaternion to Euler rotation and only animate X and Y, to avoid gimbal lock, then animate Z with the torso pivot. That way, I'd get clean curves in the graph editor, that I could retime more easily. This worked really well, so I kept that setup. However, it meant my animation was now split into two parts since you can't keyframe a switch between quaternion and Euler. So I ended up working with two separate project files, jumping back and forth between them while working on other things like the face and hair. I also wasn't sure what to do with the hair. There's an add-on for Blender called Dynamic Bones that I had tested once before, and I thought it would be a good alternative. I actually got a decent result pretty quickly, and my plan was to bake out the keyframes and clean up the parts where the hair clipped through her body. But time was short and I needed to deliver something before the deadline, so the hair ended up staying as it was. The camera work was also a big challenge, since the angles weren't simple. The focal length changed, there were zooms, and sometimes the camera tilted. Sometimes I couldn't tell if I was interpreting the camera wrong or if it was Cammy's pose. But in the end, I managed to finish the shot, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So all good in the end.
Fight for the future.